31st of October 2023. This news flash, I'm going to talk about some stuff here in South Africa. But before I start, I am thinking the last 2 days we've been hammered with load shedding again. But the reality is that the northern parts is wet and cold, and it's raining and it's cloudy and it's overcast heavily and so forth. I'm just wondering, all these rooftop solar installations on the houses and commercial sites, obviously they're not generating power. Could that be why Eskom is now in the shut? But the problem that we have is that we don't get real facts and truth out of this government. It's always just lies and spin and shit. But if I look at the reality of the load shedding since Monday and actually from Sunday, and there is here at my own place, I mean, it's raining all the time. So the solar panels means nothing. So think about that. The private solar installations is a major contributor to the power grid. Not to the grid as such, but those guys are generating their power and they don't take anything from the grid. And now all of a sudden they have to take, so there's a problem. But let's go. Labour unions in South Africa have lost more than 500,000 members in the last year. The biggest annual drop in union membership numbers in almost 3 decades. I wonder why. I am going to take a guess that the loss of jobs in the formal sector is playing a big role here. But that's my guess. Then there's this tweet from Kulani Koma. What the Springboks did can be done everywhere in our socio-economic life. We can lead in all sciences, but the leaders are ensuring that we are losers of the gravest order. And he is referring to this fucking racist ideology that the ANC and the EFF has implanted on our nation. Because the Springbok team showed what you get when you take the best of the best in the nation. And then Sir Gamona Alfred, Tlabani 20, made a tweet. The sad truths about slavery isn't that it only tortured the oppressed physically but also mentally. Those in power are white puppets. The mainstream is used to broadcast propaganda and win the minds of the oppressed. I have to laugh because this perpetual victims, the victimhood is their biggest enemy, And then Gabona answered, no, our elected thieves are not puppets of white people. These people are corrupt to the core. If white people were controlling these leaders, Africa would be the richest continent because under white people, Africa was a developing continent. Our leaders followed socialist and communist policies. Stop blaming white people for the failure of our leaders. And you cannot believe the responses that was on that tweet. But bulk of the responses are from this Salsa Brigade, uneducated, unskilled, they don't understand anything, they didn't live in a South Africa that was actually working, they have been born in struggling environments and they still struggle and they will never come out of it. But what they don't understand is that they're almost like a person in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. When you land in that quicksand, the best you can do is just to call for help and don't move. because every move you make, you sink deeper. But they don't understand that simple concept. And then we get to our president and his speech of last night. Another commitment we made in the reconstruction and the recovery plan was to fix South Africa's infrastructure through renewed investment in maintenance and construction of new projects. Now, all I'm going to say is they fucked the infrastructure up. They allowed it to fall apart with no maintenance. They machined that by getting rid of all the white skills and affirmative action. And now they are plucking the fruits of that. And that fruit is rotten. Several significant infrastructure projects are underway. These projects are both contributing to the greater economic activity and jobs and providing much needed infrastructure for the growth of our economy and the needs of our people. Now, I heard that and I thought to myself, of which country is this fucking oak talking? Because in South Africa, infrastructure projects underway means that it's somewhere somebody had a plan for it and they're sitting there in the office and they are getting millions and millions and millions of rands to get the project on paper first. Nothing physically happens. Look at the fuck up with Medupi and Kusile, 16 years behind schedule. These infrastructure projects range from social housing, road construction, rural bridges, and dam constructions. I don't see those things. They haven't built a single dam in 30 years. Whatever you are using in water infrastructure was built by the apartheid regime. The Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa has to date restored operations on 26 out of 40 commuter rail corridors. To continue with the restoration of our commuter rail corridors, 50 billion rand will be spent over the next 3 years to modernize our passenger rail network. Now I'm asking myself, that 40 commuter rail corridors were in perfect operation in 1994. Everything was working, no problem. But the same story. They got rid of all the whites with no regard for the fact that they are losing skills. But to them, skills is a foreign thing because they believe skills is something that you don't need. You just need a black skin and then you can do everything. So they fucked up 40 commuter corridors. They are now saying that they have restored operations on 26 of them. But you look at the news and you look on the social media, those things are crippled. They're not actually operational. But the reality is, all of those things were working. They fucked it. Now, all they had to do was to maintain it and build it out. Now they have to start from scratch because railway lines, the actual rails get stolen. The overhead cables for the electric trains get stolen. The stations is dilapidated and ruined and plundered and destroyed. So I'm asking myself, what type of human being, what level of intelligence is at play to take a thing that works, then fuck it up, and then ask for money from somebody else to rebuild that? They couldn't maintain it. So where the fuck are they going to get the skills to rebuild it? That's what I want to know. And he says, as part of our infrastructure build, we are undertaking significant water infrastructure projects. I've seen those projects. The sewage is running down the streets everywhere. They have actually perfected the art of spilling shit into the streets. That they have perfected. And then Paulo Des made this tweet. When a government turns against their citizens, the end result will always be the end of that government. Cyril needs to be very careful as he walks a tightrope he created for himself, pleasing his so-called Western puppet masters, while still pleasing his so-called Eastern ideological supporters. Which road will he choose? A tightrope does not give many options. You have forward, back if you are very skilled, and then of course you have down. The 15th of December will not stop the fall. And there's a lot of truth in what he is saying there. And I have to end this with this tweet to give you an idea of the mentality at play. And this person responded to a tweet about the fact that Russia did not include South Africa in that list of favorite investor status for Russia. I honestly would not blame Russia for exiting us from this forum. Unfortunately, everything happening in South Africa is linked to our colonial attachments. We the people are screwed. And there it is again. 30 years into the new South Africa. And she bitches about colonial attachments. She doesn't even know what the fuck it means. But this is their problem. That victimhood mindset, and then they blame everything they fuck up and that goes wrong with them. They blame it on the whites. And I am amused by it. They will get nowhere. Nowhere. They don't understand that progress comes from people committing to an objective. Follow through with hard work and discipline and reach your goals. No, fuck that. It's easier to sit back and tweet shit about racism. Perpetual victims, and they never go anywhere. Now there are blacks that took the opportunities that South Africa offered, and they rose out from the masses. The problem is, black people are their own worst enemy. The moment somebody in a community starts making a success of something that he tackled, be it a home bakery, be it a welding operation from his garage or something, the moment that he begins to grow, the community turns on him and destroys his business. They don't understand that shit of supporting people. This morning I asked this one guy that I do some chats with. I asked him and I said to him, listen, if you take 100 youngsters and you put them through a welding course, will they all end up of welders of the same skill level and ability? And then he came with a clear answer, didn't answer the question, but he tried to be philosophical about it. And then I said, okay, it is the same instructor, same tools, same material. Will they all be the same? And then he eventually said, no, they won't be the same. And then he gave reasons, but the reasons was not the reality reasons, that certain people have certain abilities and certain skills. And you must learn to apply those skills to the right discipline. Not this shit of everybody is equal. And then I asked him, now you've got an engineering works and you need a welder. You go to that school. Would you want the best student for your business? Or don't you care? Take anyone. And he refused to answer me. The reason I asked him that question was not to be irritating or anything. I wanted to see if his common sense will kick in and he can understand you take the best one for your business and then extrapolate that into your other plans for the future and make yourself understand whenever you have a task at hand, you pick the best you can get. But in any case, I'm done with that type of discussions. I made the mistake of sharing a comment that somebody left on one of my videos. And he fucking attacks me as if it is me saying the things that commentator said. Instead of reading the comment and think about it and then think and understand there are people out there with that type of mindset. No. Better attack me. But fuck that. I don't care. The reality is, common sense has left the room. A large portion of the black society is fueled by racism. And now with this thing that Russia has done, they all of a sudden realized, oh shit, the BRICS bus is going to drive off into the sunset and we're going to be left at the bus stop. And it's our own fault that we will be left at the bus stop. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.